Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Busch Gardens Williamsburg recreation. Last episode we looked at the front of the park where I detailed some of the entrance, England, and the Sesame Street areas. As you can see, since then I have been hard at work on Escape from Pompeii, the splash boats. I mentioned we could either go leftwards towards Italy or right towards Scotland, and I've decided we're going to head towards Italy and start that area of the park first. So this should be a pretty short episode, I guess. This is the only ride that I have been able to build since the last episode. But there's a lot going on in here, and I do like to show it off because I am pretty proud of this build. I think it looks pretty sweet. If you saw last episode, the layout for the splash boats is pretty straightforward, just kind of a little oval loop here. Of course, all the appeal of Escape from Pompeii is the theming, it's the building, the structure around it. The ride is themed towards, obviously, the eruption of Vesuvius that destroyed the city of Pompeii back in ancient Rome. Fun fact, this is one of my earliest childhood memories. I rode this way back when I was a little kid. Pretty soon after it opened too, I think, and I remember going through the show area up here and being very distraught by some of the effects in here. But it's a really cool ride. I did get to re-ride it on my last trip back in 2022 and had a good time. So just to get the credits here out of the way up front, this build is heavily inspired by a build by Enox and the Brew for the DKMP Dive Coaster contest that happened in, I think, early 2024. They did a Roman city themed entry, and I definitely stole a little bit of their architectural design for my inspiration for this build because I think it looked great. You know, why fix it if it ain't broke, you know? So we have a mix of a whole lot of different textures going on here to make this look the way it does. Some of the standard like sandstone castle walls, but also a lot of expansion pieces, some of these lost city pieces and sandstone skyscraper pieces, some ruins, some volcano textures, some actual Roman walls from the Roman theming. Whole lot of different stuff going on. You piece it together a certain way, it turns out it looks pretty good. So I'm really happy with the way this build turned out. There's a couple other little details in here. We got the queue that goes through underneath. We got some little ruins over here underneath the main drop. A little observation deck here. No one's been using the observation deck. I think the pathfinding has blocked it off. So people aren't really going over here, but that's okay. For the supports, the real life supports for these kinds of rides look pretty spindly, so we just got some poles and glass walls here to hold this thing up. I think it looks pretty good though. This is actually a lot like what I did for my disaster transport lift supports. And yeah, they look really thin in real life too, but you know, if it's enough to keep the track in place, you know, if it works, it works. Around back here, I did have a little cutout. A lot of these enclosed rides, I feel like it's good to have little cutouts. I'd rather have a cutout than make the user use Cutaway view. We're going to wind up having, I think, a lot of buildings in here because there's a lot of enclosed rides. We've got Escape from Pompeii, obviously. Verbolten has a show building, Dart Coaster, maybe even for some of the other major buildings like, I don't know, Fest House is pretty big. It might get a cutout. I'd rather have that than make the users use Cutaway. And you can curate what they will see this way a little bit better. So just a little hole in here to show off some of the little effects that you have inside the ride, which for me here is just a little bit of the fire effects. But I think that's all you need to really sell it. I think if I do use Cutaway view, you're not gonna really see a whole lot else. Yeah, I just have a few walls in here, only what you'd actually see if you were to look through the Cutaway that I have prepared. Yeah, I'm not gonna over detail it in case someone wants to use Cutaway view. It's a bit over detailing, I suppose. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. A little bit of a shorter one. Well, only had one ride to show off, but I am really happy with this one. Really happy with the way it turned out, and I think it deserves its own episode here. As far as the future, I think we're just gonna keep going this way into the rest of Italy, build some of the flats over here, see what's going on with this section over here. So start building that up and keep going around the park. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.